Howdy folks, Billy Jean with Thank God It's RC. Coming at you today from the garage. It is pouring down rain in my area. I wanted to go out and do a bunch of crawling footage for you, but it's not gonna happen today. So what I'd like to do is to do a little recap of the test we did the other day and go over some of the issues it looks like we're having, and then come back and look at some changes that I made to the TRC, and then I have a surprise little video that I took last night before getting ready for bed that I share at the end. So be sure to watch to the end so you can see some pretty cool footage. Alright, let's turn the camera on and see what we're working with. Alright, so this was the other day we did some testing. We tried taking the tuning bands off the TRC and see if that would help us get up and over the crest of the rock wall. And at first we struggled to even get up. But finally we figured out if we're going up the rock surface, if we hook the front right tire, we can get it to go up. And then we crest the top with the front tires, but then we're stuck. We hang up on the skid plate of the truck. I thought maybe by getting the front right tire on this rock on the side, we could pull it up over, but all that did is pull the rear end over for the rear wheel to fall off and lose all traction. So that was the end of that attempt. Alright, so we've got the front wheels back up again. Looks like we have our tuning bands back on, and we're trying just to get it to move over to the rock on the side so I could try again, but it doesn't look like it wants to do that. So it's just struggling moving anywhere at this point. There's no grip in the rear, no grip in the front. Partially, as y'all were saying, my rear shocks weren't really doing anything in the back, the way they're positioned right there. So part of what I did in my change is I changed the angle of the shock so that they actually provide some kind of downforce in this situation. Because right now they're not doing anything. Not even power and speed could get me up. Oh, here we go. We hooked the front tire, tried to pull ourselves up that side again, and just stuck. It's not looking pretty, my friends. Oh, there goes the rear wheel. Thought maybe we'd get it. Wiggle the front wheels to settle it down. Still nothing. Alright, so here we are coming from a different angle in the center. Trying super slow crawl, it's not working. Trying to get the front tires to hook something. Looks like we almost had it, but then not. Front rear wheel just lost traction and fell back. So we're gonna try it at an angle now. Nope. As soon as the front tires go over, the rear end just slides sideways. Gravity takes over. I mean, I sat out there and tried for, I don't know, a good 20 minutes the other day to try and get up this rock, and just no success. Found a section there where I can crawl up to get the front tires hooked. Added a couple rocks in the lower left corner of the wood there just to help get up, but still Just keep getting stuck in the same spot. No amount of nothing's gonna get me over it. Alright, that's it. So, having the shorter front suspension links, as we'll see here, actually helps the Mystery Machine able to get up and over the crest of the wall. Struggled a little, but it actually finally made it. So that tells me that the skid plate needs to move forward. Alright, after recapping the test footage, we see that the TRC was struggling to get up over the crest of the rock wall. The skid plate being set back a little bit on the TRC was not allowing it to get up over the crest, and we saw that after I helped the Mystery Machine front tires up over the top of the rock wall, it was able to pull itself over, but just barely. So we deduced out of that test that having a forward skid plate design was imperative to being able to go over a sharp crest coming up obstacles. Alright, let's pan the camera back around and let's see some of the changes we've made. Okay folks, here we are with the TRC with the new prototype chassis, 3D printed. So a couple things that we did is I had cut off the nubs here because according to my old design, when I put the body on there, it was sitting too low and touching the servo, so I had to raise this up so I could raise the hood of the truck up so that it wasn't hitting the servo. So with this new chassis design, that's not the case, so I ended up cutting this off. But lo and behold, that's actually too short, so I ended up redesigning this a little bit with about halfway up with 3 positions for the chassis. Where's my copy? Right here. There we go. So there you see it. And I also added in a radius right here in my design before I print another set. But this set here will be used when I go to put the body back on it, but for testing purposes right now I decided just to leave this together because it was already together and I didn't feel like taking it all back apart right now. From the TRC, I also moved the battery to the side. It used to be in the front, but there's not enough room in here right now because I shortened up the front suspension quite a bit. I lengthened the rear and made this long sweeping curve in the linkage, so that turned out really good. We now have, wait for it, over 3.5 inches of clearance under the belly. We have nearly 3 inches of clearance at the front of the skid. We still have our 13-inch wheelbase. Oddly enough, the geometry changed the way the body sits, so I had to cut these off, like I was saying. I attached for now, I attached the receiver transmitter here. The ESC is attached here. We got a new shorter drive shaft for the front. I was able to use the old front drive shaft, or combination of, maybe this was the old middle, no, this is the old middle drive shaft. So I was able to reuse that. I moved the carrier bearing farther forward to be able to use it, and I bought a longer rear drive shaft The bridge across the rear is new. I've put my tuning bands to that, and a couple of my viewers commented on how my shocks were lying flat in here and wasn't really doing anything. So I took that into thought, and I kind of really agreed with it. So what I did is I geniusly installed them in here, removing the need for a longer screw with a nut. So now the screw just goes into the part here with no nut, so saving a little bit of weight there. And it raises the angle of the shock. Even with the tuning bands, it still has downward compression and up swing. So we have lots of flex, compression and swing, and all over the place. So good there. So that gives us a nice high belly. The front I have completely drooped to hold it together when going up walls so that it doesn't want to pull back from the axle. What else? Yeah, I don't know. That's about it. I mean, that's all I've really done. So, changed the chassis design, moved the battery to the side, tied up all the electronics on the cross members, changed the rear end, moved the shocks up to give them more angle. So we now have actual shocks. Made much clearance underneath, so that's really good. And it's looking pretty snazzy. So we do have to later on assemble it with the new set of rails. Eventually I will cut them out of carbon fiber, but for now we're just going to use the 3D printed set. So I made the chassis rails, or not chassis rails, the suspension links reproducible, so that I can easily reproduce the curvature, and everything else is pretty much straight. So that's a good thing. I can easily reproduce those. And as far as everything else, that's it. So y'all ready to see the final results? If the TRC will now make it over the crest of the wall? I know I am. Alright, let's pan back to the footage I took last night. With effing ease. Alright y'all, I couldn't wait to do this video tomorrow, so I had to come out here before getting ready to go to bed tonight. And it made it right up that wall with no problem. This thing is insane. You gotta see how steep this thing is. Look at this. All that clearance. Insane in the membrane! Alright folks, I hope y'all enjoyed watching the TRC tear up the rock wall and make it over the crest finally. I can't wait to get this thing out on some sketchy business and see what else we can now conquer some obstacles. I think armed with this new chassis design, we'll be unstoppable. Alright, this has been Billy Jean with Thank God It's RC. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.